What's going on, guys? Sekapoko here, bringing you another 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross video. So, final boss Merlin just came to the game, and there are a couple things that you have to know. First, the fight is 100% different than the Japanese version. The first phase and second phase are very, very different on the cards that are being used, and the way that you can use units as well as the units that are available are also different. So comparing anything to the Japanese version at this point is actually very, very bad because the fight is 100% different in every single way. The way that you're going to be doing things throughout the fight, the way you're going for point gains, etc. are very, very different. So I'm going to be going over how you can get points in this and what the most effective strategies that people are using, as well as what strategies will not work and will work. So guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alrighty guys, so let's go ahead and go over everything we gotta know about the brand new final boss Merlin. So first off, for Hell difficulty, it's gonna be the same point brackets as before, except of course for the other things that are going to be happening. So first off, we have apply attack effect that dissolves. So any kind of ultimate gauge rollback is going to give you plus 20 points per ultimate gauge that's rolled back. So a 3-star Escanor would do very, very well here. Unfortunately though, the fodder on the sides, which are going to be Merlin's illusions, do not have any ultimate gauge, so you cannot roll them back. So any character that does an ultimate gauge rollback on a single target will do just fine. Decreasing any ultimate gauge move by gives you plus 15. So by just using the card, you get plus 20, and then for every ultimate gauge you roll back is plus 15. So if you roll back 3 ultimate gauge, that's 45 points here, plus another 20 here. Now, if we went into the other part here, this is going to be another point bracket down. It's going to be for any type of stance removal or even stance disable is going to give you an increase in point bracket. And what they did here is they also a very smart thing. They actually increased the point bracket from a 40,000 damage amount that we had on the previous final boss Gother for the Howzer strategy up to a 50,000 damage threshold to get to plenty to plus 20 points. So it's gonna be much more difficult to get to that 50,000 damage threshold. So you're going to have to use non-area effect damage cards here because you have to be doing 50,000 damage per hit on each enemy in order to get a plus 20 points on each hit on the field. Otherwise, you're gonna be getting a plus 10 point on each hit, and then you're gonna be getting that at inflict 20,000 damage to 50,000 damage. Anything that's over 100,000 gives you 30, and of course anything over 200,000 gives you plus 60. You get additional points for surviving the number of heroes, additional points proportionate to your amount of HP, additional points proportionate to your combat class, additional points for greatest damage dealt to enemies. So of course, highest ultimate damage is going to be really, really good here, and point deduction for number of turns used. Of course, the other missions that you're going to have here are going to decrease enemy ultimate gauge move by 5 orbs. So you have to use a level 3 Escanor or 2 level 1 Escanors, or you have to do 2 level 3 Escanors. Really depends on what you're going to get, but it's about the same amount of cards either way. You're going to have to also clear without anyone dying for plus 230 points, which is really easy to obtain. And of course, clear without using any type of recovery skills to get another plus 270 points. You also want to get an extra 310 points at the very end here. You have to do at least 200,000 damage to a single target. And usually you can get that done with an Escanor ulti on a single target. But there are a couple other ways of doing so. For the first phase for Final Boss Merlin, there are a couple of recommended units. You can see here we have Helbram as well as Gila and Red Jericho that are not on my team presently, but they are recommended units by the FOSS. Now the first phase is a really, really simple phase. On the boss, you're going to have couple different things. First off is a perfect cube every 3 turns. The main boss is going to increase their ultimate gauge by plus 2. It's also going to decrease defense related stats by 40% per each dead ally. So it has a very large amount of defense. You can see 22,000 defense starting on phase 1, and then phase 2 it only starts at 12,000. So that's usually the normal amount that's going to start with. It's also going to increase attack by 10% if the sum of the enemy's ultimate gauge is less than 5 orbs. So she's going to have a flat 10% attack per enemy's ultimate if you have less than 5 ultimate gauge on your entire team. So if for every 5 that you're missing, I think it maxed out at 20% extra attack, 30% extra attack if you had no ultimate gauge on any characters. So that would be bad, but very unlikely. It also does 300% increased damage toward any type of blue characters, so don't bring any blue characters. It also 300% damage towards demons, so don't try to bring any demon characters. Also reduces all damage taken from counterattacks by 80%. And finally, it is immune to all petrify, stun, freeze, attack disable, coerce, buff disable, ultimate move, damage decrease dealt. And that the last one is basically Gother's damage decrease. ultimate damage increase. Now the abilities for this is basically going to be Red Merlin for the first ability. It's going to do 120, 200, and 300 for completing one ultimate gauge. And the second ability is going to do a poison effect at 140% damage toward one enemy, go up to 180 and finally 300, which is basically just an extra 50% of the damage that it did originally. So the 3-star poison does pretty hard. And finally, the bubble that's going to pop on herself is going to be a 225% attack against on herself for 2 turns. And then finally here, her ultimate ability is 590% attack toward one enemy and seals their attacks for 2 turns. Now the fodder on the first phase are very, very tricky. The first thing that you gotta notice is they haven't have one of them is gonna put up a stance ability and the other one is going to put up a damaging ability. And they're gonna alternate between the two. One's gonna do a stance one turn and the other one's gonna do a stance the other turn. The stance ability is going to assume a stance for 1 turn, reduce damage taken by 50%, but then here's the big thing, reflects damage equal to 500% of the damage taken. So you want to either remove the stance or kill these characters before they put the stance up. And the other ability that they're going to be using at the alternate is going to decrease attack-related stats on one enemy by 20% and disable buff and recovery skills by 2 turns. Now, each of these only have about 91,000 HP, so they really don't have a lot of HP. 91,000, 103,000 HP, really don't have a lot of HP. Main boss is about 200,000, so you could attempt to one-tap the boss. I tried with a 3-star Esca, it didn't work out. Phase 2 of the boss is going to have 531,000 HP, a very, very large amount of HP. But the fodder units on the side, when they die, are going to actually, instead of decreasing the amount of defense-related stats that the boss has, is actually going to decrease the amount of HP the boss has by 40% per dead ally. So if you killed one of the allies, it's minus 40% here, another 40% if you kill both allies. Now this one is going to be a little bit different, where it's going to do 220% attack, 220% disable recovery skills, as well as 360% attack and disable recovery skills. Very, very annoying. And the other ability, of course, is going to be a Merlin freeze, which is going to make it the target take an additional 80% damage if anyone does damage to this target, which no one ever hits the freeze target, so the freeze always goes last. So you really don't have to worry too much about anyone getting hit by the freeze. I don't even know why they included the additional damage taken. The ultimate ability is going to be the exact same, except it's going to be 540%, whereas the first phase, it was actually 590%. So you get a little bit less damage on this ultimate here on the second phase. Now the fodder are going to be a little bit more dangerous on this phase, and you can see they do have a stance ability, which is going to have the same reflect ability as it did the previous stage. However, the one of them is going to increase pierce rate of all allies by 50% on their second turn, and actually going to alternate and use berserk on every even number turn. The other one is actually going to have 2 different abilities. First one's going to be curse. It's actually going to remove all buffs from any allies, all enemies, and inflicts damage equal to 180% attack and deplete ultimate gauge moves by 1 orb. And it's going to do it against every single enemy on the field. The second thing that's going to happen is that there's going to be another ability that's going to remove buffs from one enemy and inflict damage equal to 450% attack and depletes ultimate gauge move by 1 orb. So this is actually going to be, one's going to be an area effective damage attack that's going to hit everyone and cleanse everyone, and the second one's going to be a single target attack, so be very, very wary of that. Extinction is going to be every even number turn, so basically this ability, the single target ability, is going to be on the second turn, and the area effect ability is going to be on the first turn. Right here, you can see that it's going to, of course, do additional damage to demons, but you can attack seal these guys if you want to. I don't know if these are considered attack skills because they do have a red border around them. I haven't tried to attack seal them, but you could attempt to do an attack seal on this if you really want to with Gother and see if it works out. Okay, Pierce food here. All right, let's try it again. For this next section, I tried a bunch of different team compositions out, and this is the compilation of what I got for score summary on different types of teams and why I think certain teams are going to work really well, where I think other teams are going to fall off. I'm going to be going over each of the teams, and the team you're seeing right now, of course, is a team with Escanor, Gother, Howzer, as well as Arthur in the backline. Arthur there primarily for increased HP as well as lifesteal. I'm also using Pierce Food on this composition because I'm trying to get more damage. On the previous final boss, we had final boss Gother, and he was able to provide a large amount of point gains for doing large amounts of damage to the enemies. And if you broke 40,000 damage, I believe, on each individual target, you were able to get 20 points for every enemy you hit on the field. Unfortunately, though, on this particular final boss, they've actually increased the damage value that you're going to need to hit from 20,000 to 40,000 to now 20,000 to 49,999. So you have to break 50,000 damage on any hit in order to get yourself that 20-point marker, making it so that a Howzer team composition is going to be very, very difficult to use here unless you are able to break 50,000 damage on every single hit on the field, which is very difficult to do. It is possible, though, on a Pierce card. However, on the other card, it is going to be much, much more difficult. And I don't believe it's going to provide you enough points for it to matter, but you can attempt it, and you just will not be able to reset the field and try it multiple different times in order to get this done. For this next section, I was working on trying to figure out for a few hours if I could get stance points. And one of the factors in this fight is that there's a lot of points that you can get if you are trying to abuse stance disable as well as stance remove. A lot of people saying, hey, use Red Slater. Why aren't you using Red Slater? The thing with Red Slater is Red Slater does not have a stance removal. He just has a stance disable. He does not give you extra points by doing that. You only get plus 15. Whereas if you use a stance remove and stance disable card, kind of like a blue Slater does, you get a bit more points. So the whole theory was there's a couple characters we could try, like Griamore, that has an area effect stance disable as well as stance removal. There's characters like Red Deanne that also do that. But what we found that every single time that we were using these units is that the runs went too slow and the teams were inconsistent and did not work. And I ran these teams for about 3 or 4 hours to see if I could, try something more to work out. Plus, if Griamore was doing a little bit more damage, you'd probably get a little more points. But I think we had a lot of stance disables early on, so that was fun. So I think that's a really funny way of doing it with Griamore. I think you can do it like just sort of really hilarious way. The amount of stance disables you got was not really good. Well, you can see we got the score of 1690 here, but 690 here. And I think we can do that better. We got really bad RNG on a lot of the phases, so I think we can do it a little bit better. You can see the stance disable points were here, but the point loss was really from taking too long. And it's just because we got really bad RNG on the final phase. And if we do get some more point loss here, I think we can get over 1,000 more points on this if we can get it done faster. And that's with a 60 Griamore. So I'm pretty sure we can do a little bit better here, and we can do it with more HP all across the board to get more HP on everyone. You can see the remaining points here. I think we're really, really low for the amount of missing HP. So it looks like we did this point threshold here. We got 160 for surviving heroes, and you can see the remaining HP was at 182, which is really low. So I think if we got to higher HP threshold by the end of it, that would be better. And we can get some more for other things. Next up, we have the meta composition with Arthur, Escanor, as well as Gother. And the team kind of relies on you getting the rank ups to this. Get yourself a 3-star buff and making sure that you can do lots of damage on Escanor, hit the ultimates with Escanor, etc. And I'm not the biggest fan of the strategy. I've tried it out in multiple different variants. I've tried it with Twiggo, I've tried it with Liz, etc. There are many different ways of running it. It's just not my favorite to run because I'm already running this in PvP and I don't want to run it again. Okay, we got this, and we got rollback ulti, and then we're gonna go with the finish. So I wonder how this one's gonna go. I'm currently at turn 8. I've got all the point thresholds, I think. Got an extra dissolve in, and then boom, 194,000. If that was 200,000, probably would have got a little bit more extra points at the end there, but whatever. It works out. And we ended with 3168. Nice. So that's how I hit 3168. That's cool. Good run overall. I missed out on a bunch of points here and there because of lack of gear rolls or potentially other things. This is like a big point gap right here that I missed out on points right here. That's a huge one. Another one that I could have got more points on is that one rollback that you saw earlier. That was also kind of unfortunate. The turn count was perfect at 8 turns. You can only last 320 points here. Having high HP was also really nice because you use Liz. Probably get a little bit more HP. If I use Twiggo, it's a little bit riskier, but it might work a little bit better. But I did have really high HP at the end of that because of that. So I had 375 points for that. I'll try a Twiggo run and see if I get more points out of that. Otherwise, I hit all the mission requirements, I believe. We hit all the mission requirements. I got lots of ultimate gauge rollback. I did a little bit too much damage in some points and a little bit not enough damage in other points. So could have been better, could have been worse, but it's not bad. So many people were trying out different Helbram compositions throughout the day, and it became this thing where, you know what? I guess I'll try it. And it's really hard to do. The main issue is that you're gonna need a very high level ultimate Helbram, and the damage that you're gonna have to do on the final phase is reliant on that. So for free-to-play players, I don't recommend doing this unless you have a very high level ultimate Helbram and you're pushing really hard. This is a really tough strategy to implement. This team relies on a couple different strategies where you have to petrify the enemies that are going to be using debuff so that they don't debuff seal you. That's a buff seal you. That's a thing to happen. Also, you got to use ultimate gauge rollbacks on the Merlin every time you get a chance to get your additional points. And on the final phase, you need to ultimate rush the boss and kill them in one stroke in order to completely finish out the run. I think the ideal turn amount is 6 turns. It could be 8 turns if you do get enough points to make up for the difference. So I think this is the run. I'm going into the next room on turn 6, and I have all my ultis up. And I think I have a stack or 2 on Gother, I want to say. So I'm now on room 7, turn 7 on the fight. I was trying to figure out what the best strategy was, and there's like a bunch of different ways of doing this. One of the ways I thought would be best would be just full sending it. So on this, we now have 3 ultis, right? I have 3 stacks on go through right now because I got lucky. And I have about 13,000 attack over there. I got Helbram with looks like about 19,000 attack over with the go through stacks and his passive. A level 5 ulti here. We got Esca about 18,500 after the go through stacks and everything. He's 1/6 unfortunately, but this is what it is. On rollbacks right now, we are at 3 rollbacks that I've done for apply effect dissolves. And we decreased the ultimate moves 3 times. So now we're going to use this to get the point threshold here. So we're going to lower ultimate, use this for damage, and go in. So I haven't done any of the other ones yet, so hopefully this will be enough to win this. Here we go. So boom. Okay, we dropped their ultimate. Boom. Did big damage there. And finally, boom. 240,000. I have a 1/6 Escanor. Probably would get a lot more if I had more than a 1/6 Escanor, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm using lifesteal food to get my HP back up, so hopefully I have enough HP. We got Twigo in the back line for max HP, so it took a while to get here, but I made it to 3197 with this strategy. I think you can do a little bit better with a higher ultimate here. This is the highest amount of points that I've had for the amount of HP at 405. I think with the like min-max rolls, you can probably like get to like 420 or something like that, so another 15 points here. You could probably get a little bit more points in for greatest damage if you have a higher ultimate level on your Gother, not Gother, your Helbram, as well as your Escanor. You probably get a little bit more there. For turn duration, I'm at minus 215 here. My Escanor again was only 1/6, so this is a little bit tricky. Going into the rest of these, I can see that I only hit over 200,000 points like a couple times. That really did not help there. I got a stance cancel once from Helbram's ulti once. I didn't get a ton of dissolves later in the fight, so that would have probably helped out if I got it earlier in the fight. But I think the only thing that I can do to do this better is get this done by turn 6 and get a crazy amount of merges to actually get into the room a little better to give me another 50 points or so, and then of course have a higher ultimate level. So I think that would probably be a way that you can like squeeze out a few more points. But I think this is the max of what I can do with this particular team with RNG. It took the entire day to get this done. And We ended up getting all the missions done, as you can see. We got 2197 from all the missions. I had a little bit different of a score earlier, but your ultimate level is definitely going to help you squeeze out a little bit more points here and there. I had a little bit higher of a rating earlier, but I think you can get much higher than that. You can see the top 10 are about 3,300. The difference between where I'm at now and where they are is a little bit different as far as damage goes. I think I was talking to ZM, and he said during his run, he was using attack food, but he has a 3/6 Escanor, so that really helps him, and he did the exact same, very similar strategy. But I think like by getting to the room 1 turn quicker, and by getting another set of attack, get extra oomph and attack that he's gonna have from Escanor's damage, really puts him ahead by about 150 points there, plus a little bit better rolls in his gear. My gear is not the greatest. I've been upgrading it for a while. I do have a UR Escanor, and I did upgrade the Escanor a little bit more. But if I go into my actual full gear set here, my gear set for the Gother is about 42,000 combat class. I have an attack and defense set here with 11% rolls here. Not really the best of rolls in the world. I do have full cosmetics on this Gother, obviously, so that really helps out for him. My Helbram, I am missing some HP on him, and this is where I was talking about for min-max. I do not have all the cosmetics in the world. I do have all the weapon cosmetics I need here. I can probably get a little bit more attack on the Helbram from another Helbram weapon here, but I only have 3 Helbram headpieces, so I am missing a good chunk of HP. There's a UR headpiece I can pick up here, another one here. So that's about, I don't know, I'd say about 3,000 to 4,000 HP that I'm missing from here, so that'd be another like 5 or 10 points that I'm missing. In addition, and probably more than that, actually, about 10 or 20 points, I want to say, that I'm missing. And then I would probably get a little bit more points based on the ultimate level, doing a little bit more damage on that turn to break certain thresholds. So that would help out as well. That gear that my Helbram had on this run was only about 12.9, and the ring was really good at 14.1, but his orb is about 13.3 and 13.4 over here, so really not a ton there, but it just, you can do a little bit better. The Escanor, however, I did put everything into. I dumped everything I had into getting this Escanor to see this run would work. I have 14.5 now on my bracer and a 14.4, but unfortunately I have about a 12.6 on my HP orb and a 12.7 on the other HP orb, so there's a little bit of HP missing there as well. For Escanor Cosmetics, I do have 5 UR weapons, which does help out, but I have 4 headpieces here, and I don't have the 5th because there's no 5th one, I think, as of yet. I think there was the Dark Knight one, but I think this is the Dark Knight one. Yeah, this is it. Those are the UR headpieces for him. I could get a little bit better rolls on the HP rolls for him. I did actually max out my Merlin to get all that done, but her support rolls are not the best. She does mediocre rolls. My Gustav is only level 75. He's not even level 80 yet. I also don't have a lot of cosmetics on my Gustav, so there's another bit of improvement. Another thing that's missing here is my King is not even close to maxed. I think my King, if we go to him, is like, let's go look at the ultimate level. I think the King is at, let's see here. I think it's a 3.6. So this would have been another big bump in HP. So there's another like I'd say about 20 points that I'm missing just from HP values based on the amount that you can get from here. And then my Twiggo obviously is, you know, nowhere near where he needs to be. I don't have all the cosmetics in the world for Twiggo. I'm still missing both of these cosmetics. I probably could have picked these ones up as well in order to get a little bit more HP from him. His set is pretty low rolled at 11% and 10%. Very low gear rolls on him. So all those little small tidbits there would push me to where everybody would be around the 3,400 marker. And I could probably use some other better supports here in order to get that done. But that's where I am at in this run, and that's why my 0.5 is a little lower.
Okay, round 2, green Escanor style with green Lizhawk, because people don't have red Escanor. Now we're doing with green Escanor. Hey Seka, I don't have green Escanor. Shut up. Make another one. Chill, bro. Chill. All right. So I haven't done it like this. We're gonna see how it goes. Cool. Exactly what I wanted. Okay, so we're gonna go with the same strategy as before. Rank up onto Helbram. One of these, and make sure we stop the debuff. Not one of these. Stop the debuff. Okay? So the Jutski, it's gonna yo. Okay. Now we're gonna use Escanor to kill the other one. Blam Ikimas. Okay, and then we're gonna 3-star roll back the Merlin. Okay. This is called Kablam Ikimas. Okay. This thing's probably dead. It has 65,000 HP and that probably does enough damage. And then we roll back the Merlin. But a points. Okay, kablam. Alright, now that Alright, cool. We've rolled back the ultimate. Okay, I'm gonna go do a move over here. Right? Okay, move over here. I'm gonna do a rollback. And an ignite. No, we'll do the AoE card. AoE card. Yeah, I don't want the ulti yet. Rollback. Boom. Okay, now what we're trying to do is get the ulti. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and use a rank up. Rank up. Cleanse. And I guess we'll 3-star Petrify. Okay. Cruel Sun. Big damage. And here we go. So Jutski. It's Gidio. Bam. 3-star Petrify. Escanor's almost dead. Hopefully he doesn't get focused down right here. Okay, ultimate move on Gother, no big deal. Okay, rollback on Helbram, no big deal. Alright, so we are going to go with a... The plan is one of these, and one of these. Ikimas. Okay, one of these, and then an Ikimas. Blam. 73,000. Okay, got some life steal back. Great. Have ultis up. Sounds good. Okay. Oh my god, I'm almost dead. Oh god, I am almost dead. And go through hitting with another 3-star. Dude, how many 3-stars does dude have? Jesus. Okay, we're gonna go with a Ikimas. Actually, we should go with this. We should go with Ikimas. 3-star rollback. Ikimas. Nanati Harata. And then Ikimas. Okay. Now we are in the final phase. My HP is stupid low. But we made it. Right? We made it there. Okay? The fact that we made it to the second phase, fine. Okay? So the same strategy as before. What we're going to do is we are going to ultimate rollback first. It lowers the ultimates. We use another ultimate and then our final ultimate on Merlin. That's all we do. Ultimate. Boom. I'm on turn 7 just like last time. Boom. Helbram ulti. And then finally Escanor ulti. Hopefully it does a shitload of damage. It did not do a shitload of damage. It only did 175,000. But if you have 6/6 Escanor, do more. You have a 6/6 Escanor, it'll do more. Okay, I did 2,695, and I only got most of them done. I can see I'm missing 310 points here. This would have got me 3,000 points. All you gotta do is get a 6/6 Escanor, and you can do it just like this. Yeah. Also, I forgot to equip all my cosmetics, and I was missing cosmetics on my Escanor. I probably should have equipped cosmetics. He would have done more damage if he had a pimp suit on. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have your pimp suit on. You gotta have your sparkly axe. Very important, and of course the top hat. These things are vital. Also, missing the top hat. Missed out some points there because I just rushed this because I've been doing this for 10 hours, and it's you make mistakes. So you missed out on all the cosmetics points I could have got. Damn, dude, it's lots of points I missed there. Look at that. I got another 200 attack. Jesus.
So an alternate strategy to the alternate strategy was this whole team, and then we use, instead of Lizhawk, obviously we're going to be using Twiggo for the backline unit. That strategy actually works. Viviene at her max ulti at level 80 can break 200,000 damage without ignites, and you can use ignites in order to increase your damage even further. So if you want to stack ignites in the primary target to get more damage, you can do that to get break 200k very, very easily. Helbram is a replaceable unit with other units on the field. However, he does provide a huge benefit because he does give ultimate gauge rollback, and there isn't really too many other characters that you could use in place of Helbram. If you were really trying to use somebody else, you could attempt to use Howzer, you could attempt to use Arthur to boost your damage even further. Unfortunately, though, you're going to deal with the ability to not be able to remove ultimates, so that's a little bit tricky. Personally, I would say there are a lot of different strategies you can use, and we've tried a bunch of different tactics, and it's one way to go. Alright guys, my name is Sekapoko. It took a long fucking time to make. I'm tired. I'm gonna take a nap. Bye.